Forest fires. As I record this, there's all kinds of forest fires raging out on the West Coast. In fact, a friend of mine is living in Oregon, and the fire's gotten about 23 miles from his house, and he can hardly go outside. It's smoky, and he's a little worried and all that. Easy to look at forest fires as being disastrous, right? I mean, these trees have been in the forest for hundreds of years. It takes forever for a tree to get to be full grown. And it's habitat for animals, and it's beautiful. And then fire ravages the whole thing. Sounds pretty sad and depressing, and I guess it is. But there's another side to the forest fire, a side that we have to remember. It's part of the plan, right? The forest fire is a way that the forest renews itself. Lightning serves this purpose even before mankind starts fires with stupid gender reveals. And when the fire is done, look what happens. The trees that were there lose their foliage. Sometimes the trees die, of course. And that means sunlight gets down to the bottom of the forest floor. In fact, not just sunlight, but the ashes from the trees themselves serve as a fertilizer for new plants to grow. Now, I get it, it's a sad story for the trees that were there, but it's actually a rebirth. It's a birth for the new things, the new trees that can now come up, new trees that can get light and nutrients from the old trees. It's a cycle, as life is a cycle, I suppose. Well, anyway, that's exactly what we're talking about today. If you look historically, there have been many what we like to call historical arsonists, right? Now they're always nasty and awful, and it's horrendous. Your Alexander the Greats, your Attila the Huns, your Chinggis Khans, your Adolf Hitlers. I mean, there are plenty of historical arsonists in history who have come and just destroyed things, destroyed the world as we knew it. But after all of these, a new world is born, for better or for worse. I'm not suggesting that historical arsonists are great and we should give them a handshake. I'm just saying we always go on, and it creates something new out of the ashes. The world we live in today has been recreated many times from many different forest fires. So if we think about the Mongols then as historical arsonists who come in and destroy the old world, it creates a new opportunity for a new world to be born. Now we can talk a lot about this as time goes on, but today I want to focus on one thing in particular. So, this map is my artist rendition of the Mongol empires after Chinggis, right? So Chinggis Khan dies, and it's broken up amongst his descendants into these four Mongol empires. Well, what's interesting is they're not going to be around for that long. The Mongols are going to eventually disappear. Oops. They're going to eventually disappear, creating a vacuum. Now, I'm always appalled when students don't know what a vacuum is. Like, oh, isn't that what you clean your carpet with? Well, yeah, because the vacuum machine creates a vacuum inside of it. By blowing air really fast out one side, it creates a vacuum on the inside. And all the air on the outside is sucked into it because air has to go and fill those areas of low pressure. So all a vacuum means is a place where there is nothing. And the inside of old light bulbs used to be vacuums because the filament on the inside would burn up if there was oxygen there. Anyway, here's my point. What do the Mongols do? They come in and they destroy. They destroy the Islamic world. The Arab world that is left over is a shell of its former self. They're weak, they're pathetic, their cities are destroyed. Persia, modern day Iran, same thing, right? The aqueducts, which they weren't called aqueducts, they were called qanats, but underground irrigation things were destroyed, the orchards were cut down. Persia is crushed, no longer a force. Don't forget the Chinese, right? Traditionally, one of the greatest societies in this course. The Chinese are still there, but they are decimated. They are destroyed. They are ground to powder by the Mongols. So that's kind of the role of the Mongols then. The Arab world, crushed. Persia, crushed. China, crushed. And it's going to open the door for other people to do something. especially once the Mongols leave, right? Bubonic plague starts to strike. The Mongols like, I'm getting out of here. And off they go back to the steppes. Well, this PowerPoint today is about the Turks, the people who fill the void. So Turks are interesting. I don't know how much you know, probably not very much, but Turks are very similar to the Mongols traditionally, right? They tend to be nomadic people who live in the steppe lands. I'll show you a map in a second. Turks do not come from Turkey. Turks, in fact, come from Central Asia. So if you look at this map, we're going back to that Mongol map, but it'll work just fine. The Mongols are from like up in here, and the Turks are from right next door on the steppe land. We're talking about horse riding, arrow shooting, Mongolian-esque people. Now, what's going to happen is these Turks are going to note, hey, the Mongols are gone, and everybody else has been destroyed. Here's my chance. And so Turks are going to come flooding in to wherever they can to start a new life for themselves. So they're the real winners here, at least so far, in the Mongol sweepstakes. There was one group of Turks led by a man named Osman Bey. Those Turks were named after Osman, hence the Ottoman Turks. These Turks come riding in to the old Byzantine Empire, which has been falling apart forever. Remember, that was the old Eastern Roman Empire. These guys are weak. These guys have been getting punched in the face by the Arabs for a long time. Well, the Turks are going to finish them off. In 1453, they're going to actually capture the city of Constantinople. The Byzantine Empire will be no more. It'll now be called the Ottoman Empire, or the modern-day nation of Turkey. So the Ottoman Turks topple the Byzantines, and they become the new leaders of the Islamic world. These guys are going to convert to Islam, almost all of them, because they like it. So remember, Muhammad and all the early Muslims were Arabs, and then as they spread, of course, it spread to other people. But still, the Arabs were kind of in charge. Not anymore. Now the Turks have showed up, and they are the new sheriff in town. And it's now the Turks who are going to own Mecca. It's the Turks who are going to be the ones in control of how Islam is interpreted. So we go from this map to this map. The Ottoman Empire is old, man. Look at that sucker. It's going to comprise, North Africa all the way down here to Mecca, the old Byzantine Empire, and it is going to be there until World War I. Yeah, World War I. Not until like 1922 will the Ottoman Empire officially be wiped off the face of the earth and replaced by the country of Turkey. But this is an old ancient empire that's been around for 500 years by then, and it all starts here. The Ottomans are going to have a great run, and they wouldn't have had that great run without the Mongols. So the Ottomans are those little tiny trees who get sunlight and fertilizer from the ashes of the dead trees. I'm not saying I'm glad the Mongols destroyed, raped, pillaged, murdered, but life goes on. What we're going to find out later in the course is other Turks are going to come into Iran, and other Turks are going to come into India. The Turks are really the best beneficiaries here of what the Mongols do. And that, my friends, is all I have to say about that. A short screencast today. See ya.